By the 1980s, Atari was the biggest gaming company in the world. Apple had released 2 personal computers. Silicon Valley was becoming the center of the high-tech universe. And watching it all was Trip Hawkins. Hawkins went to work for Apple after graduating from Stanford Business School.
He's one of those guys who is probably the smartest person in every room he's in, but he also sees all the angles. And he understands the technology that's behind individual concepts.
At Apple, Hawkins began to understand the value of software designers. He considered them artists and thought they should be treated that way. In 1982, Hawkins left Apple to start a gaming company in Redwood City. He called it Electronic Arts. Hawkins envisioned EA as an entertainment company. His engineers were rock stars. Promotions for the games included pictures and bios of the people behind the product. It worked. Everybody wanted to work for EA.
EA in particular brings a huge number of game developers here. Just a huge number. I think at one point I read something like 20% of game developers in the US were working in the Bay Area, and most of them were working for EA.
Under Hawkins, EA released dozens of games: war games, chess games, puzzles, sports games. In 1991, Hawkins left as EA's CEO to start another video gaming company. Before Hawkins left, the EA team came up with Madden Football. The first version in 1988 was disappointing. Game designer Scott Orr was hired to fix it.
I think one reason Rich Hillerman hired me was because I had done 3 previous computer football games that were all action arcade oriented.
Before he joined EA, Orr started a company called GameStar with his brother. It specialized in sports games. Orr's games brought something different to the experience.
I've been doing Magic since I was a kid, and a couple things I learned from that. One was it's very important to create an atmosphere, a feeling for people with Magic where they feel integrated, where they feel part of it. And that certainly influenced me with my game designs over the years.
In the Madden game, Orr looked for ways to get players more deeply involved.
I really wanted the players to feel like they were literally on the field and in control of what was going on. If I did something on offense and you did something on defense, you might stop me, or maybe I score a touchdown. But we both felt like we were in control of that. And if we screw up, we know next time we're going to have another opportunity to do it better or do it different.
In 1991, Orr started meeting John Madden 4 times a year during different stages of the game development. There was one thing Madden insisted on.
He was a big stickler for realism, and so it had to reflect his philosophy of football. So one of the things that I learned when I did research on him when I was designing the first one and had to bring him into the design was his philosophy of one-on-one confrontations. Football is a series of 22 players and 11 confrontations, and the result of that play is how each of those confrontations resolves itself.
Madden's commitment to realism helped bring the game off the screen into the real world. Gamers started holding drafts, tournaments, and even trading players. More importantly, NFL coaches and players started to use the game as a way to learn strategy and field tactics. For the first time, a video game wasn't just a game.
I think we were all surprised at how much success it had. It really transcended the sports gamer and really reached all gamers. And I think it still does.
Following the success of Madden, EA has built games for every major sport. The games have even outgrown the skills of the early designers.
I don't play Madden anymore. It's actually become too complicated for me. I'm an old school guy. Now Madden is so complicated, I think there's more audibles at the line of scrimmage in Madden than there were plays in the original Sega Genesis version.
Orr left Electronic Arts in 2000 to get into mobile gaming. By then, companies like EA and Atari had created the first generation of people who grew up playing video games. And for the first time, gamers were going to take center stage.
For a 17-year-old kid, free trip to Boston and like getting paid to just talk about games and was, mind-blowing at the time.